Good morning, good night, good afternoon, you beautiful patriots, you. I would like to just say that this video coming up is sponsored by Little Pink and Yellow Ball. Buy one at your local store, let your pets play with them. Alright, so my brother from another motherland, Dave over there in England, gave me some shout out material, and what I do want to shout out is the fact that New York City just did a really amazing win for the people fighting for freedom. And especially talking about people fighting for freedom, I'm going to introduce you to Miss Fiona over in England. You'll see a lot about her in a minute. But first, I just want you, in case you're not familiar with what just happened in New York City that set a precedent, check this out. We're going to hear from the lawyer for all of the workers in New York City, and here it is. And I will put all the descriptions down below, and I will also ask you to please like, subscribe, and share to me. I will be happy for that. Thank you.
And these are DSNY New York sanitation workers who just came out of a hearing, and here is their attorney who won the case. Let's talk to him about what's going on.
Hi.
Tell everybody who you are and what just...
Now remember the language that he's going to tell you this. Remember the language. That's what sets the precedents.
happened here.
So my name's Chad LaValia. I'm an attorney who gets to represent these fine men and women over here. What just happened was the judge found that the city's vaccine mandate is unconstitutional, violates the separation of powers, found it to be arbitrary and capricious. He found the commissioner's order mandating private and public employees to get vaccinated was arbitrary and capricious. And it's no...
That's the bomb right there. Arbitrary and capricious. That means they could take a sledgehammer to your head, hit you anytime they want, and ask you to obey.
Null and void, essentially. So we just defeated the vaccine mandate for every single city employee, not just sanitation, FDNY, NYPD, Department of Corrections, for all the brave men and women who have been our first responders and have been brave through all this. You're now free, and you should be able to go back to work.
These people here are going, they have been ordered to go back to work.
Yeah.
When?
Tomorrow 6
morning, 6 a.m.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Explain.
And these are all people that were told to go home if they didn't receive the needle. All right. We had people that didn't get the needle that worked at Walmart, and yet we also had places shut down. So much money has been transferred over this last 2 years. It's unconscionable. Just listen.
What the basis for your case was?
So the basis for the case, we weren't challenging that the health department had the power to make these mandates. It's just they're arbitrary and also violates the separation of powers, because as an executive agent, you can't make the law. That's what our elected representatives do. And when Mayor Adams, in March 24th, exempted the athletes and performers, he really created a crack in the foundation of our Constitution. And then...
Boom! Now remember, I always fight for constitutional freedoms and the morals of being a patriot and how we want to live with God, family, be able to do our own businesses and live our life to its fullest without any government interference that is over opposing. But he just said Constitution, and everything that's wrong with America right now is the fact that they want to destroy, the evil ones, the leftoids want to destroy the Constitution for their financial benefit.
He really made it even worse when he made an exemption for the private sector. You can't just do that. It also violates the Equal Protection Clause, which the judge found as well, because what is the difference between a sanitation worker or someone working in a McDonald's? Nothing.
Right.
For a virus, no difference. It infects them just the same. So Aaron Judge shouldn't get special treatment just because he plays for the Yankees. And as the judge said, unless the city mandated everybody to get vaccinated, it's arbitrary.
And I gotta say this, with the infection rate and everything, no matter what you believe, Dave over in England also pointed this out to me, and I totally agree with him. Why were masks not put into hazardous containers and sealed for good? Why could they just lay on the floors, the streets, on a table in a restaurant for, you know, whatever amount of minutes, seconds, whatever? But if the masks were so important, why weren't they dropped in hazardous waste containers? Even if you were walking down the street and had some place you could put your mask away, but yet they were able to just float around, people throwing them out their car windows. Anyway, I had to get that out because Dave would skewer me if I didn't get that out. It's a brilliant point. I thank him for it. And I'll give you a link for how to follow Dave, too.
These are distinctions that make no difference. And based on that, they exceeded the scope of their authority.
The judge spoke a lot about how these workers were asked to come into work throughout the pandemic with only weekly testing as a preventative, as a safety measure. They worked throughout the pandemic, and he was very adamant about his respect for city workers and the dedication that they showed during the pandemic, and adamant about the fact that we should treat them accordingly. The city should treat them accordingly.
Yes, I have the utmost respect for the judge, the court, and for his comments, and for.
Can you explain what I've said Staten Island courthouse, but what court is this, and what relevance does this have for the other cases? Where does this fit into the legal system?
Very good question.
Let me just stop there because I want to get on to Miss Fiona, but this is it's setting a precedence, right? This is good because now we have law. All right, we have law in there that other lawyers, other towns, other courts can look to this. But this is a huge, huge win for America, really, and for the people that want to be free. All right, so who is Fiona Rose Diamond? You'll see her here in the red. She's going to speak. I got about 2 or 3 videos. I'll let you check her out. One of the things that's the hardest thing to do is to fight for the right reasons against a tyranny, especially to organize it. So one of the things, after I've watched through these videos, I am just introduced. So I will do my best to let you know who this woman is, what she's fighting for, and I will put links, down below. And if you have comments, drop them in there. But I highly suggest you do your research, follow Fiona. All right, so here we go.
Seen out of Fiona Hine over the past 2 years.
The reason why I have some of this a little bit in the past here, like within a year or maybe a year and a half or 6 months, is because that's when everybody was fighting and getting canceled, and she took the opportunity to be a voice for Europe and the world.
Welcome to the revolution.
I only became aware of Fiona's tireless work at some point last summer, but she'd been active since the very beginning, being initially arrested back in May 2020 at Speaker's Corner alongside Piers Corbyn and charged 3 times that same.
See that elsewhere in the Capitol on Saturday evening. A shocking video filmed by a woman believed to be Fiona Hine, which is her real, I believe that's her real name, 35 from Richmond, London, shows the moment she tips out a bottle full of sanitizer into a pub sink. at the Barrow Boy and Banker on Borough Street or Borough High Street. So I stopped this video just to let you know 2020 was the huge election and the J6, and we're all freaking out with this, all the mandates coming down hard on the heads of the world, not just America, not just England. They were coming down hard, and this is one of the original women, yes, that stood up, and that's intriguing, and how brave.
Same year, twice with attending a gathering of more than 30, and once with holding a gathering of more than 6. It's easy to forget now that the initial stand in the park events, meeting in a small group outside in a park on a Sunday morning, could net you a prison sentence, but it's crucial that we don't suffer from amnesia and that we're thankful for those warriors who read the Coronavirus Act as soon as it was drafted and took to the streets to defend.
And that was a lot of reading. Yes, I didn't really read much other than what I heard verbally.
Defend our rights.
Obviously, people know I work really close with Kate Shemirani. I think she's been out since the beginning trying to wake people up, telling people facts about the vaccine. Everything she said was going to happen has come true already, whether it's about forced vaccinations, mandates, whatever, and vaccinating children.
Whilst Piers Corbyn and Kate Shemirani were being pilloried on TV for speaking out, Fiona was always there in the background as they traversed.
Notice how they have to make up the names. Anti-vaxxer, isn't that funny? And believe me, it happens in every form of media and politics, but anti-vaxxer, that means you're against something foreign going into your body, but you're anti.
The country shutting down vaccination centres. In September 2020, I was staggered when I went down to Trafalgar Square and saw in front of me the largest crowd I'd seen since lockdowns began, a huge roster of spellbinding speakers and an army of citizens who were not buying the government narrative.
So look that up and let's move on. Let's move on. This is somebody catching up with her. This is back May, so that's about a little over a year and a half ago, just to show you how deep Fiona has been involved.
It's all been a contradiction.
But you're the one who organised this, aren't you? The one in the BBC video the other day.
Oh,
Was it you?
BBC video?
Oh, not BBC video in front of the BBC. Was it you?
I don't.
What's your name?
Oh, yeah,
sorry?
it is me, Fiona. Yeah. Oh,
Fiona.
yeah, when we planned the route. Yeah, Fiona.
Oh,
Rose
okay.
Island.
Right, okay, yeah. I
BBC, what the fuck? Just been there.
Well, I don't normally watch those, but then, yeah, what's this, can you tell me, what's this, Hyde Park thing that was happening?
Right, okay, and I'll be honest.
And listen to this, the Hyde Park thing. She's going to talk about V-Stop and all that, UK Freedom Alliance. And again, thanks, Dave, for bringing this to my attention. Follow up.
Am I live on Facebook?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So we're Worldwide Demo, as you can see.
Yeah, with the team, yeah.
And I've been part of Worldwide Demo since it started in February this year.
Yeah.
We did the 20th of March, and they're bi-monthly. So there's going to be one in July as well. That's the 24th of July, folks.
Oh, got it planned already.
There'll be another.
Oh, nice.
And we don't know what we're going to do for it yet. I'm doing a V-Stop festival, actually.
Are you
A
part of
music
that?
Festival. Yeah, that's
Oh,
mine
can
as
I
well.
I want to get in on that.
Okay, you can.
Yeah.
But basically, another group, the UK Freedom Alliance, led by two people, Jonathan Miller and Justin Smith.
Follow those two, Jonathan and Justin, please.
Also Mick Scott and Dolores Cahill.
And me being from America, I'm just trying to get this message out that there are freedom fighters across the pond.
Decided that they wanted to do their own. So when we announced the location of this worldwide demo, they decided that they wanted to do their own and go from Hyde Park, and they split the march. So that was divisive. They took our flyers, they put big red crosses through them. And
didn't see that.
That is hijacking, that is sabotage. So you should be ashamed of yourselves, guys, because we've had an amazing day, and the coppers told me that the Hyde Park march was significantly smaller than ours. So don't try and split, don't be divisive.
Surely it got
because we
mixed
worked
up.
really hard.
Did it get mixed up with the Palestinian march?
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened to Hyde Park, but it was good.
All right, so we'll move on. Let me see here. Oh, one more. Here we go. And this is where you'll just get to hear a little bit about how hard she works.
Expired. People think it's all over, but we're looking at a treaty that's meant to be signed tomorrow. We're meant to be giving up our sovereignty tomorrow. And people they don't realise what's going on, and we have always shed light on that kind of stuff. But
And her saying that she sheds light, if I ever direct you to people that are even on the other side, that's because I show you my true colors. If I ask you to look into something on both sides, it's because that's what I do too. So you always have to know your enemy. And it's always even better to know your friends and fighters.
again, like I was saying, the children, and that's what today was about. So we met outside the BBC, made a lot of noise outside the BBC. Now, it's always a great location, but you never see the BBC reporting anything. You just see them taking pictures from the inside of the building, and you see it appear on social media. So yeah, we met at the BBC. It was a short march because the children led our march today. We ended up at number 10 Downing Street, where we had some music. We made some noise because the PCCS bill is now just passed, which basically means that when they decide to enforce this legislation, they'll be enforcing it and putting sanctions and conditions on any protest. You have to ask for permission. We've never
And when you have to ask for permission, that's when they can put the thumb right on your head like a little thumbtack going into a corkboard. Because now they have the power. And like Dave says, all of this, and I agree with him 100%, is basically for both power, control, and of course add in financial power too. Because it was the biggest, in the last 2 years, like I always say, it's been the biggest transfer of funds in world history.
ask for permission, and we won't ask for permission. But what they're going to do now is come and tell you, oh, if your music goes this loud, if you haven't got permission for that music, we're going to declare this illegal. And what happened in summer of 2020 when they declared a protest illegal? A peaceful protest, they came in with batons and weapons. We had the riot police, we had the mounted police, and we saw that, and we're going to start seeing that again. So the very act of protest is becoming an act of defiance, and actually all you're doing is exercising your human rights peacefully. So that's one thing, that's the reason we do it. The reason we do it is because we've never given up our freedoms. We've always stood for other people's freedoms, and we're exercising that right, our human right, and also, as I say, it's an act of mass non-compliance and defiance. So I'm not going to give up organising these things, and I don't think many, many thousands of people will give up. So
I just love her. I'm already loving her. I'm going to follow her even more. Big thank you to Dave. I'm going to put everything down down below. I'll put all the links for you, and then follow more. Like, do some deep dives on your own. All right, like I said, they didn't even put the masks in hazardous waste bins. So how crazy was this, really, when you think about it? And also, make sure you kiss, love, hug a veteran. Follow Gretchen at 1776 Gretchen on Twitter and at Code of Vets on Twitter. And then you can also link up to her website, her .coms, if you have a friend, family member that is a veteran that needs help, or if you're a veteran that needs help. We will be there she will be there to kiss, love, and hug you and get you on your way. All right, so that being said, follow me, like me, subscribe, share, whatever. I'm all over the place. I'll leave everything down in the descriptions below. All right, I love you guys. Peace out.